Hello and welcome to Gamersledge. My favorite thing in the whole wide world. Hello and welcome to Gamersledge. Come on in, sit down, relax. Have yourself a nice tall glass of nothing because I didn't prepare for the show. So you can easily have the same thing. My name is Mark. I'm one of your hosts. Welcome to episode 256, Second Life. Joining me this week is, of course, Matt. Hello, Matt.
Hello. How's it going?
And next to him in our row of esteemed panelists is Kate. Hi, Kate.
Hello.
Before we get into all the news and things that are our discussion topic and all the things we've got to talk about this week, let's start by going around the room and talking about what we've done. I know Matt's list is short, so let's start with you, Kate.
Can you start with Matt?
Now that I have you pinned so that everybody can see you, absolutely, sure. There we go. Hi, Matt.
Hi. So yeah, it's a fairly light week this time. I downloaded the Doom, which was really unclear as to exactly what it was. It turned out it was the first two missions for Doom that were free. We played it. The boys decided they liked it enough. They chipped in the money since it was half off, and we now own Doom. So I played the first two levels of Doom, the new one, obviously, because I haven't played that one yet. Rock Band, game that I'm playing to get ready to do a review for. I watched my oldest play some Lawbreakers, which is kind of funny because nothing in the world says that it's law/breakers, but it really is, because if you look at the design of the logo, there's actually kind of a slash between law and breakers, and that's the two sides. You have the law, it's cops and robbers, quite literally. You have the law and you have the breakers. So those are the two sides of the thing. It seems pretty good. I know his there's a game where you have to get, it's similar to the Halo one where you had to grab the skull and run with it. It's a mode similar to that. I forget what it's called. But you get the ball and then you have to get a tier goal.
Well, so it's actually a little bit more complicated than that, because once you get it to your goal, you have to charge it up a certain amount. So it's not like...
No, that's a different one.
Oh, is it? Okay.
There's one where you just have to get the ball. You just have to get the ball to the goal and it scores.
Oh, well, that's capture the flag, basically.
It's basically capture the flag, except it's a ball, and you have to stand on where the ball spawns, because it's a central, though. It's not your enemy's ball. It's a centrally spawning ball. You have to stand on it for like 4 seconds to get it, and then it's in play. And then there's a shot clock too. So if you haven't done something with it in a certain amount of time, it respawns back at the starting point. So he likes the robot class. I think it's like Titans or something like that.
Yeah, they're pretty strong.
That's the class he's preferring. So anyway, so I've seen some of that. I haven't played any of it, but I've seen some of it. A show that finished 2 years ago, Haven, which was on Sci-Fi. I have finally finished it. So I have finally seen the end of that series, which, okay, it could have gone one of two ways. It went the way I would have rather it didn't, but, you know, what are you going to do? And then I finally saw the Lego Batman movie, courtesy of the PlayStation Store 99-cent rentals that they're having over the next few weeks. This week is Logan. So if you haven't seen Logan, good movie. Go check it out. Mark didn't like it, but he's weird.
No, I just had problems with it. It's not that I...
This wasn't to start you down your rant.
Yeah. I got it.
But yeah, so I really liked Lego Batman. The reviews were kind of mixed around the room from the family, but I really liked it. I thought it was really good. So, and that's pretty much it. I don't really think couldn't think of anything else that I had watched or played over the last period. So, that's it.
Well, Kate, are you ready now, or?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay. All right, good deal. Me too. Go ahead.
So, well, I guess the first thing is, been keeping up watching Game of Thrones. That's the only thing I've really been watching.
Oh, I did watch a couple episodes of season 6. Forgot about that.
Okay. Season 6 is good, though.
Yeah, it's been good so far.
As far as games, I haven't done a lot either. I meant to play more, and then it was just one of those weeks where I don't even know what I did instead. Probably just did internet stuff. But, played a little more Final Fantasy 12. I actually played episode Prompto, so I did that. It was pretty fun. I mean,
did you play through the whole thing?
Yeah.
Okay, I haven't. I got to the lake. That's as far as I've gotten. So
I haven't done any of like the time trials or any of the other stuff you unlock when you finish it. But no, yeah, I did finish it. It was better than episode Gladio.
Oh yeah.
It wasn't hard. Because that like made me so sad. And then I decided to play because I played the verse 2 of chapter 13, where you control Gladio and Ignis. And it's like, this is actually better than episode Gladio, but that's beside the point. What else? I don't think I did anything else. Oh, I picked up the Game Grumps game Dream Daddy, but every time I try and play it, and that's why my computer's been all like kind of messed up, is I have these like weird bugs when I try and play it where it gets stuck on the loading screen, but I can still hear the game moving, like, and when I press like the prompt button, I can still hear the text noises and like the voice noises and stuff. So the game is still going, it's just I can't see it, which for a text-based voice game makes it nigh impossible to play. So I tried, shutting it down, loading it back up, loading it from a different save at the same point every single time. So I don't know what to do. I even tried uninstalling it and reinstalling it, but it didn't help. So I emailed like their support, and I haven't heard back. So I don't know. I really want to play it.
Did you update your graphic card drivers?
I guess I'll have to. I'm not sure which drivers I'm supposed to get, but
welcome to PC gaming! Hooray! And it's a freaking text adventure game. It shouldn't be this hard, but yay!
No,
PC Master Race. There you
That's
go.
about it.
That's about it?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, my list surprisingly isn't much longer than you guys's. I played Lawbreakers because I was kind of super excited for that game, and then I played it, and it is okay. That's about the extent of it. From the demo stuff that they had shown, it made it look like it was a lot more no gravity. That's the best way I can say that. Like, no to very little gravity. Everything was happening in the air all the time, and people were flying around, and it was like, that is so not the case. You have limited gas tanks, and the gravity is completely normal. So,
it depends.
It's more floaty than Overwatch, sure. But
and there's the places where the gravity's increased too, so it slows you down.
But in the area that I was playing, there was none of that. And the mode that I was playing was similar. There was a shared power core, if I remember right, in a.
This was the uplink one, though, isn't it? Isn't that the one you were playing?
I believe so. Uplink, yes. So that's in a shared spot, and then people have to go and pick it up, take it back to their base, and then it has to charge for a set amount of time up to 100%, and then you get a point, and then it resets back at the shared spot. I played through a couple characters. I settled on the medic. I actually really liked the weapons that they gave the medic and her style of play. She was pretty strong for a medic, but then also had the heals. I sound like I'm 80 talking about
the
internets. You got the heals, son. Yeah, so that's it. It was good, but I sat there and I'm like, would I rather be playing this or Overwatch? And the answer is Overwatch. I'm sorry. It was just something felt off about the balancing still. Plus, my teammates sucked. Like, sucked so bad that it was ruining my experience. And so, granted, I played it limitedly. I only played for like an hour or so. I did not spend like 100 hours with it and can give you a full breakdown. But I mean, I had fun. I think it's great for a $30 game. Do I think I'll buy it? If they do another beta, I'll test it out again, but I don't think I'm going to drop the money on it.
So I get that. I remembered the mode, the mode that my son was playing. It was called Blitzball. That's what Cliffy B, and then you know.
How did that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, but do you think is it anything that they can, since it is still beta, is it anything they can fix that would make a difference for you, or is it just the overall ambiance of the game isn't?
I don't know. You know, it's better than Call of Duty. I'll put it there. I mean, they do not feel like paper mache people like Call of Duty. So that is a huge win right there in my book. It's not as slow as Battlefield 1. So in fact, it's much faster than that. But it still feels the same as you're firing the weapons and as people are being hit. So I'd say like the mechanics are fun. It's just whether or not you only want to play an online shooter that's extremely fast-paced. And do you have a crew of people that you can roll with on a regular basis? Because I think this game will be a hellscape for any pickup group kind of players. Especially if they're not super familiar with the maps and super familiar with the player characters. I think that would be like the worst possible way to play it. If Matt, you and Kate said, oh, we're going to be on every Tuesdays and we'll just all play together, then I might reconsider it. But right now, I don't think it's necessarily anything that they can... Like, that's not part of the gameplay. That's just the experience, I think, of playing the game. And that's not something I think you can immediately easily fix. I mean, obviously you're going to be paired up with people, and they'll be on the similar playing field in terms of difficulty, but I don't know that you can actually fix that.
Right.
Somebody's going to have a bad time in that game in a pickup group. That's all I really think about it. But for $30, if you can't afford Overwatch, but you do want a team-based shooter online, then here you go. I think that is a good purchase at that point.
Yeah.
I have been playing the hell out of Dungeon Defenders 2. So the group that I am currently playing a lot with online are all MMO players from the PC who have migrated to the PS4, and whenever like there's a game, they'll all attack it. And we all, like, we did Marvel Heroes. We all did Marvel Heroes together. We ran through the whole thing, and it was... I mean, we exhausted the content in a month, and the game officially only launched, like, for a week. So we had actually... I platinumed the game, and there's nothing left to do. They released an update with some new stuff, and I burned through the new trophies and content in an hour. And so the question was, what are we all going to play next? Well, Star Trek Online is part of that. But then not everybody likes that style of game, so we've been playing Dungeon Defenders as well. Or Dungeon Defenders 2. And that game is interesting. It has some issues, but it's interesting. It is a tower defense game in third person on the ground.
It's the same as the original.
Oh, yeah. It's the exact same as the original Dungeon Defenders, which I never played at all.
Oh.
So I was really thinking about it, and because we also downloaded Orcs Must Die, and it's the exact same thing. It's a tower defense game, but you're a ground unit basically that's deploying traps and stuff to stop them. And Orcs Must Die, Yawn City, Yawn Festival. Do not buy, avoid, horrible. I mean, it's free to play, but do not put money into it. Super boring, to be honest. Dungeon Defenders 2 is at least interesting, and you have different... It feels like an RTS at times, which is kind of interesting, the way that they've done it. But I mean, it's okay. They have a deal going on right now that you can get like $20 worth of stuff for $15. It's actually more than $20 worth of stuff. It's $20 worth of in-game currency and a bunch of other things for $15. I have not bought it yet, but I probably will because the game has been fun, and I'm going to put at least a little something in to support the developers and get some premium costume skins. Crap, nothing that affects the game. Also, the thing I have been working towards since October when Star Trek Online first hit, there were ships that were out on the PC that they brought over to the console version that are very, very hard to get. It's called the Herald's series of ships, and the consoles, when you have all three consoles, it basically opens a hole in space in which a sun blasts other ships with a constant stream of solar energy for 15 seconds. It's amazing. Basically, I have it on the ground. I have the ground version of it, and it melts faces, and I've always wanted to melt space faces instead. So the one ship that's the most difficult to get is the Herald Dreadnought, and it usually runs on the auction house for 750 million energy credits, which that's as much as it sounds like. Like, you can tell in some games the economy is inflated or whatever, but this is like the rarest ship in the game, and I got one finally. So I have all three ships now, and I can now melt space faces, and I'm very happy. But it has taken me since October to do it, which is kind of crazy.
Is the trophy still bugged?
Yes, but the bug trophy is still bugged, but that's not my problem. My problem is that one of the trophies, actually two of the trophies, you have to collect all the lore from 2 areas. And it's not like 10 pieces of lore. It's 29 sets of 5 to 17 pieces of lore apiece. And I have like $70 million on the auction house, so I may actually start doing it again. But I remember the last time I did it, I had 19 million, and I burned through it in an hour and a half just picking up pieces of the lore. And now I will have to pull out my spreadsheet again to see which ones that I still need. Yes, I have spreadsheets for Star Trek Online. I know. That's who I am. I'm proud of it. But yeah, I'll have to pull out the spreadsheet and then see, because a lot of the ones were missing from the auction house, and I don't have the patience to go and actually do it.
So this is like when Turo was getting all his Pokemon by trading instead of...
Yes. Except he's a damn dirty cheater, because that whole game is about earning the Pokemon, not trading them. This is... They let them be traded on the auction house, so this is perfectly legit. If they didn't want them to sell...
Pokemon lets you trade too. You can.
It is a game mechanic, yes.
No, it's different. Wholeheartedly convinced. I have made it to episode 6 in Travelers, which is that Netflix only series about time travelers inhabiting people that are about to die and taking over their lives to prevent the catastrophic end of the world. It's actually getting really good. There's only one season. I don't think it's going to go anywhere. That's my sneaking suspicion. Like, I don't think there's going to be a season 2. But I have to say, it's well acted and it's fun, and I like it. Well, not fun like... It's not fun like, haha, yay, we're time travelers. It's pretty serious stuff. But I think the premise is fun in what they're doing. It's actually a drama. It's very much a drama, but I don't know. I think the story is interesting. Also watch Game of Thrones. I really don't know how this story is going to end, to be honest. Not well, I'm sure. But
well, a lot of people know now because of the hacks.
Oh, I have avoided all that stuff. I do not want to know anything. I am clean and pure as virgin snow, and I wish to remain that way. But I like what they're setting up in the show. I'm sad that the season's already half over. 4 more episodes, and then that'll be this season. And then next season we get, I think, 6 episodes that are an hour and a half long a piece, if I remember right. So, yeah. But season 7's good so far. I'm liking it. And that's pretty much it for me. So I think that's going to lead us into news, which is... I have to pull that guy up for news. Oh, let's go to the old twitters.com/Gamersledge. I think we had some news from last week also, but because I don't think we did any news last week. We just did the trailers. But I don't know that there was actually a whole ton of actual news that was relevant.
It's more than 5 seconds ago. I don't really remember.
Yeah. Mouse, work. Do your job. Yeah, that's still this week. Wow, actually, we combined between the two of us, we actually took care of the news this week, I think.
Woo!
All right. July 28th, that's sometime last week, I'm pretty sure. Just Cause 3 is now out as a free game. You should play that because it's amazing. Did you download it, Matt?
Yeah, no, I have to clear some space off my hard drive to fit it on.
Did you download it, Kate?
No.
You should do. That game is stupidly, ridiculously fun. I think you would enjoy it very much. Kate, do you like blowing stuff up?
Meh.
Do you like tethering one person to a car that's driving away and then watching them be ziplined to the car and drugged behind it at astronomical speeds?
Not really.
Do you enjoy using a what's the Oh my God, a grappling hook? Yes. Do you enjoy using a grappling hook to combined with a parachute to allow you to break the law of physics and fly upward?
Sorry, no.
Then do not download Just Cause 3. I'm just saying. You will not enjoy it whatsoever.
Doesn't hold my interest at all.
I think it's so much fun. Fun. No, I'm not going to talk about that.
It's up now. I don't know what they mean by closed beta. It's in closed beta, but I have a download button when I go to it in the store, so I don't know if that means I can play it or not. So
you might have. Did you get the season pass?
Yes.
Yeah, I did.
That's probably So it might be if you got a season pass.
That could be, yeah.
I didn't look. I just noticed today it like downloaded the patch to bring back like the carnival and like the exosuits and all that kind of new doodads that they have. But I didn't check on the multiplayer because I never check on multiplayer. So
yes, the Power Ranger suits that no longer look like Power Ranger suits.
I'm bummed about that. I wanted them to be Power Rangers.
Yeah, I kind of like the old Power Ranger suits.
I just wish they would have like outfit DLC. It's such a missed opportunity.
Well, I mean, if you look at the mobile game, it seems like they have a whole hell of a lot of it.
I haven't looked at the mobile game.
The mobile game, it's a city builder. Yeah. It's a city builder, but you create your character first, and it's like current outfits, and you can dress your character up really kind of any way you want.
For my own character, though.
Yeah, I know.
I want to dress up like Nox and Ignis in them. I don't want to dress up my own character.
Well, but I'm pretty sure you can dress up your own character as Nox and Ignis if you wanted to. So I don't know. I haven't checked out the game yet. I'm actually thinking about downloading it just to check it out. PlayStation Plus is going up $10 a month in Europe, which is a 25% price hike. And people are pissed. And I... You know, on the one... Yeah, go ahead.
I just said that's a big hike.
Yeah, and on the one hand, I get when you're a company, you need to cover your costs, etc. But I have to wonder if their costs really have gone up that much to justify a full $10 a month hike. That's a lot.
But wasn't theirs like only $40 to start with?
I don't think so. Maybe. Well, 40 euros. Maybe.
Well, I thought it was equivalent $40, whatever the translation would be, but
God, I cannot read that. So let's see if we can.
From £39 to £49?
£39 to £49, yeah. Which currently the pound is stronger than the dollar, so that's...
It traditionally always is. I mean, it's tanking right now, but it's usually always more expensive than the dollar, US dollar.
And if it's tanking right now, that's even worse because that means you're technically paying even more for this price increase. So yeah,
as a person who uses a Canadian dollar, I never knew that.
Yeah, exactly.
Super sarcasm.
39 British pounds equals $51.50.
Yeah. Which, you know, even when I went there, the first time I went there, I went to a McDonald's and it was £5 for a number one. And I'm like, wait a minute. That means I'm paying basically twice as much for a number one Big Mac meal here than I am in America, right? And the guy's like, yep. And I'm like, that's not really fair. And he's like, yep. Try and buy a computer. It's like, yep.
In his head, he was actually saying, "Get used to the rest of the world, you stupid American."
Actually, no. That guy was cool enough to have actually said that. If that's the way he thought, if that's what he actually thought, because we had several of those exchanges. But no, he did not say that. Luckily, Final Fantasy 15's Regalia comes to Forza Horizon 3. Finally, you'll actually be able to drive the damn car.
Well, you know, the off-road mod is out now, too, so you can drive it in the game, too.
Oh, really? I wasn't aware of that. Okay. So
That's
you
what
can drive
happens
it
when you don't beat games.
Yeah, I know. Wholeheartedly true. I beat Marvel Heroes. There's no platinum in Dungeon Defenders 2, otherwise I would actually go for that. Dragon Quest 11 is coming to the West. We'll have more Dragon Quest news in a little bit. They finally announced that. I don't know why, because it doesn't sell nearly as well, but sure. I mean, I liked some of the Dragon Quest. Yeah, I actually like some of them.
There's one guy in the back going, "Yes!"
So this is a game that completely slipped under my radar, and it's coming out this month. This is not the first one that or this is not the only game we'll talk about like that. I don't have a news piece on it, but Matt, do your PSA and remind the good people of what comes out on August 8th.
Hellblade!
Yes. So if
Which I won't be able to buy.
Yeah. Why won't you be able to buy it?
Because I'm poor and broke.
So
and it would break your thing about getting a new game.
Yes.
Yeah. So let's look at the Hellblade trailer.
Although you already did you could just get your kids to buy it for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Your go-to
that's what I was gonna say. Is just have the kids chip in. It'll be
hey
fun.
Kids, buy this game about death and insanity for me. Yeah.
Peggy 18.
Peggy 18. Your kid's 18.
It's by Team Ninja, by the way. It's by Team Ninja and based off of Norse mythology.
Mixture of Norse and Celt, actually.
Oh, that's right. You're right. So
It's Ninja Theory, not Team Ninja.
Yeah,
I'm sorry,
Ninja Theory.
that's what I meant. It was Ninja Theory. Matt, what's the big mechanic that everybody's excited about, including myself? Is this the one?
What do you mean by mechanic?
With the mental disorders?
Yeah. The main character, the girl there, what's her name? Suna, something like that. She is mentally ill. She has psychoses, and you experience the world through her illness. So you don't. This takes place during the period where the Norse were invading England or the British Isles, and they kill her mentor, and this causes her mental illness to go off the rails. And so as you're playing the game, you're seeing and experiencing the world through her disorder rather than through what's there. So where there could just really be a dog, she'll see a warg. Where there is just a Viking warrior, she'll see a demon. And so you won't be able to tell what is it that she's seeing that's real and what is it that she's seeing that's part of her illness. There's sound. Actually, if you hear that trailer on a surround and the story trailer that came right before it on a surround sound, she actually hears voices. And the surround sound will just, the voices are all around you, coming from all different directions. Some of them are there to help you. Some of them are there to misdirect you. And it's just a really, really, really intriguing premise.
Does it play like a Dark Souls kind of like action game, like in terms of how you like move around and stuff like that?
It's supposed to be most similar to Heavenly Sword. It's considered a spiritual gameplay successor to Heavenly Sword. So more actiony than a Souls game.
So more like Devil May Cry sort of thing.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it's a really interesting premise. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out, how if it accomplishes what it's attempting to do. It looks gorgeous, as you can tell from the trailer there. I'm
which
really,
by the way, was all in-game cinematics or in-game footage.
Yeah, it looks ridiculously amazing. It's got a really intriguing premise. It's doing some amazing things with sound. So it's very, very high on my level of interest. So, if the stars align at some point, it will make its way into my
your kid
list.
to buy it.
Yeah, exactly. Just get your children to buy it. They have disposable income. You're good to go.
Yeah, sure.
That's their rent.
So, the funny part though is I think we didn't see this until E3, if I remember right. This was not like something that we've known about for years.
No, it's relatively recent. I mean, I know we knew it was coming before E3, but I don't think we got our first real good look at it till E3.
And it's on PS4?
Yep.
That is PS4.
I think it's exclusive too. I don't think it's coming to PC.
I think you're right.
I'll fact check that one, but yeah, I'm super stoked for that game, and it really makes my resolution all the more painful.
See, and while that's the first game coming out that I didn't know about this month until like a couple days ago, the second one is called Mages of Mysteria, and this is a Kickstarter game that got successfully funded, and then they are porting it over to consoles as well. But it's an action RPG where you get to build your own spells. So you'll take a core spell like Lightning Bolt, but then you'll be able to add modifiers to it like fire and forking and chaining and stuff like that, and be able to create all kinds of different spell effects. So that's like right up my alley, and I'm super excited for that. I believe that's coming out towards the end of the month. I want to say like the 28th or so. Or the site, which is Game Informer, just doesn't exist anymore.
Hellblade is also coming out simultaneously on Steam and GOG, so it is coming to PC.
It is coming to PC, but not Xbone.
No Xbox, no, doesn't appear to have a Switch or anything. So,
August. What are you laughing at over there? I'm like
people expecting stuff to come out on the Switch that's like PS4 power.
I thought you were laughing.
Like, no, it's just like the same thing as you were talking about, like people getting mad that Overwatch is not on the Switch. It's like, really? Come on. Switch
but it would run at a.
You're being blind about how powerful it is.
It would run at a buttery smooth 17 frames per second.
Yeah, at 240p.
Yeah, it had some weird, funky resolution. Yeah, it was great. I mean, I believe that they could get it to run in handheld mode. It's when you put it in the dock and have to play it on a big screen TV that you would actually have problems.
It'd be like watching a PS1 era FMV.
Hey, I just did that the other day, and oh man, it was painful. So painful.
I tried to watch Final Fantasy VIII's opening recently. It's just like
So Mages of Mysteria will come out on the 22nd of August.
Otherwise known as Sim Spells.
I'm fine with that too.
Sim Magic.
I'm fine with that too.
Are we going to go with the other big game that's coming out this month? As long as we're on that kick.
Is there another big game that's coming out this month?
Oh, just a little bit. It happens to go by the title of Uncharted.
Nobody cares about that series.
That's this month? Jeez,
that's this month. At the end of this month.
I haven't even played 4 yet.
I haven't even played 3 yet.
There's something. How am I more ahead of?
I will tell you exactly how.
I started this series so late.
Called I Have a Wife, and my wife does not want me to play it without her, but yet she never wants to actually have me play it.
Ah, so you have my same problem with Horizon Zero Dawn.
Exactly. I am caught in wife limbo hell.
As a happily single person, my whole instinct is just like, just play the game. How do you get anything done?
Well, so the thing about it is that I want to encourage my wife's newfound enjoyment of gaming, and if I just plow on ahead, then she's gonna I know her. She's gonna be like, oh, he doesn't want to wait for me because I'm holding him back, because that's the way she is, and I love her for it. But I don't want to do that. That's the whole reason, is because I would rather encourage her, and if that means waiting and not playing, I would rather wait and not play.
Which is admirable of you, because whereas I am so unfeeling as to my own desires versus someone else's, I'll just be like, well, screw you, I'm going to play it anyway.
And for me, it's not like I don't have plenty of other options, so I just play other games.
How far are you into that now? That
Horizon?
I mean, no, into your back catalog that you promised yourself you'd play.
Witcher 3.
Okay, fair enough.
I don't know. I've gotten a couple 3 games. I've gotten through. What was the other one I got right before? I got through 15.
I still want to go through and play all the Final Fantasies in order. I've been wanting to do that for like 15 years.
Yowzer.
That will take you about 15 years.
I know. I might just start at 2 though, because just
yeah. Why do even?
Why play 1?
Why play 2? Even you start it. Oh no.
It does have a story.
Yeah.
Well, I guess 1 sort of does too.
Yeah, sort of.
2, skip 3.
I've never played 3. I actually want to play it.
I'd say you could probably just skip right to 4 and start there. To be honest,
I know that's what I want to do.
Because that's the beginning.
Like, if you're doing the thing, you got to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then as you're wanting to stab yourself,
I might do the Evil East thing first.
If you're wanting to stab yourself in the eyes while you're doing it, I don't know that that's necessarily worth it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Speaking of stabbing yourself in the eyes, let's talk about Pokemon Go Fest.
No.
So, if you weren't aware, Pokemon Go had its first major festival in the United States. 20,000 people, all converged in Chicago because they promised there would be legendary Pokemon and super rare Pokemon that you could only catch at this event. And people flew in from all over the world, from Japan, from California, to Chicago, and there were others, but those are the two I know of for sure. And it was a cluster of unmitigated proportions.
As soon as you said they promised.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It was no one could get onto the game. So first the networks went down. Then the networks were partially working, but because the ping and lag time was so bad on the networks, the Pokemon Go servers were actually creating a new bug that meant that people couldn't get into their accounts. So that created a cascading failure on their servers as well. So they had to take servers offline, fix that, etc. By the time everything is said and done, almost nobody caught anything. And the whole thing was pretty much a big cluster. Now, to Niantic's credit, they gave everyone back whatever the cost of the attending was. I think is like $25 or whatever it was. And they credited people with $100 in the Pokemon store, the Pokemon Go store, in-game. Which is cool for most people.
And gave everyone an Articuno.
Yes, and gave everyone an Articuno. But for people like the people who flew from Japan and the people who flew from California, etc., who spent considerable amount of time and money and effort to come to this thing that did not go off as planned, they felt a little jilted and actually took out a class action lawsuit against Pokemon Go Fest. And so now Niantic is having to deal with that. I actually, if you look at what the lawyer is pushing for, he is pushing for Niantic to only cover the travel costs and no more. There are no damages in the suit above and beyond reimbursing these people their travel costs. And for once, I think that lawyer actually has a point.
See, travel costs are... If travel costs are on you, travel costs are on you. I don't buy that one. That's
but would
you didn't have to go. You didn't have to go. You got everything you were promised. If you had the weekend to spend there, you even got to catch the Heracrosses and stuff, because after everyone dispersed, it worked. And they extended the entire thing to last the entire weekend, and it was fine. From that point, throwing 20,000 people in one small area to do it all at once, that was the mistake. They should have never done that. It should have been a distributed event to start with, because the cell networks were just never going to handle this. That was just bad planning. But, you know, I don't buy the whole travel thing. Somebody didn't have to fly there. And what didn't they get? They got to hang out with a bunch of people who play Pokemon Go. They got to possibly make new relationships. They did get all the Pokemon and stuff that they were promised. They didn't get to do the giant raid thing that was going to unlock legendaries. That's the only thing that didn't really actually happen that was supposed to be part of the event. But it still unlocked legendaries anyway, so now Moltres and Articuno are popping everywhere.
I think Articuno's gone. Or Moltres is gone now. It's just Articuno.
Okay.
But let me ask you this. Let's say that there was an advertisement that in a month's time you could fly to California for a Lego convention where you could only get this certain thing, and it's a 2-day convention. But you can't go for both days. You can only go for the first day because you've got to fly out for more work on the second day at an offsite or whatever the case is. Would you book your plane tickets and go to that thing if you knew in advance that they weren't actually going to have what they advertised?
Well, I guess that's what I'm saying. What is it that they substantially didn't get that is worth that level of effort? Because if it goes to that point, you know it's going to be more than the dozen people that filed the class action lawsuit. It's going to be some amount reimbursable to every single one of those 20,000 people that came. You want to bankrupt Niantic? This is how you bankrupt Niantic.
Well, I doubt that, because it's not for everyone that came. It's just for those like
that's not
22
how these
people.
things ever work. You realize what they're going to do is they'll change the payment out to be anyone who went will be able to get some number of hundreds of dollars, because
No,
that's how
you
these
can't-
things always
that's-
work out.
No, that's you can't change the scope of the class action lawsuit after it's already been brought to trial.
I'm just saying, I've gotten payments out for things that I've never been a part of the lawsuit for voluntarily, and
Right,
it's
but those
still
things
happening.
were like if you were a person who owned a PSP between X and Y, then you get a free game.
Okay. So let me modify my statement. If this works for the 20 or some odd people who are doing it, then all of a sudden every other person, some other lawyer will decide to file a lawsuit on behalf of everyone.
Possibly.
And then, I mean, travel costs to me, it's like, yeah, if I knew that it wasn't going to be there, but I would get it anyway, and I would get to hang out with people that made Lego sets and other people that loved Lego. Maybe, I don't know, if I had the money. I mean, that's the hard part for me to imagine, is having the money to do it. But, I don't know. I mean, yes, I get it. It was disappointing. I get it was bad. I get not everyone could stay in town longer and get the stuff that was available throughout the weekend. I get it. It was bad. I don't think it's get your thousands of dollars you spent on travel reimbursed justified, though.
Kate, any thoughts on this one?
None.
Okay. All right, then. Doomfist is now live on Overwatch. I have not yet played him. He looks amazing. Anything that harkens to a fighter in shooters, I am intrigued by. And that's basically his entire design. If you watch the design doc video, they said we wanted to make a character that was literally a side-scrolling fighter-based character and translate that into a working 3D first-person shooter model. So I'm totally down to give him a go.
So he literally only has melee attacks?
No, he has ranged attacks through the fist. But, I mean, think of them like fireballs. I mean, that's not a bad comparison. Think of kind of like fast fireballs. But the majority of his moves are actually punches, and they do a friggin' ton of damage. And they're amazing. So if you can line it up, and there's even air juggles with him. That's the best part. Is like once you get an opponent into the air, you can continue to press the offense in the air, which is amazing. So I'm very much wanting to give him a go and get good at him, because that's hilarious to me. Kate,
I haven't played Overwatch in a long time, so I haven't played him, but I'm very intrigued. I really, really like his design and everything about him.
I am a little bummed Terry Crews is not him.
I'm glad they went with the more authentic. He's Nigerian, so they actually got a Nigerian person to do his voice.
Yeah. Do not buy the @Games Sega Genesis flashback console. Period. Horrific. Don't do it. Wait for the actual Sega one. That's no longer.
Because that one you can probably actually get. You won't blink and it'll be gone like the Nintendo one.
Oh well, no. It's this one, the @Games Sega one. It has 80 games, and 32 of them are filler games that you've never heard of before.
I thought you were gonna say 32 of them are Sonic.
Yeah, no. And when you do have a game like Sonic, the console constantly lurches, so you don't have smooth frame rates for anything. Like it'll go 6 frames and then lurch, and then go another 7 frames and then lurch. So it's super bad from everything that I have read. So stay away. You'll now have to pull out your Switches and iPads at the airport, just FYI.
Wait, go back to that story about the so anything larger than a cell phone has to be put in stored luggage?
Yeah, no,
in a bin.
To go through security. So you can no longer leave your iPads, tablets, Kindles, Switches, any of that has to go in its own bin. It's not clear whether or not you can put them all in the same bin as long as they're not overlapping, but you're probably going to end up going in individual bins until somebody says otherwise, because there's not been clarification on that part of the law revision. So hooray. So I have played PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds for like a couple months now, and I was reading about the design docs for the new map, and they were talking about how long it's going to take them. Like, it may not even be ready this year because it took them 9 months to get the one map that's in the game now up and playable. And somewhere in there they mentioned that there's a tunnel system in the current map. And I was like, WTF, there's a tunnel system? I've never seen that in the... I'm so upset now that I don't know about this tunnel system. I'm going to have to go find it in the game. Like, I'm just going to ignore the winning part. I'm just going to go try and find this tunnel system. Yeah, we talked about Lawbreakers already. Sims 4 is coming to PS4 and Xbox One. Kate, interested? Not interested?
I've kind of moved beyond The Sims, so I probably won't be playing it.
I'm not sure if my wife's going to want me to get it or not. It'll be interesting to see. Destiny 2 beta was underwhelming. That's the podcast from last week. What's that one? That's not really a news story. That was just opinion. Oh, so this is actually one of the main topic of the podcast. Second Life was a virtual reality world created by Second Life. I put the air quotes because there was no real VR. At the time they did it, it was hugely successful. Mainly attracted people due to its alternative dealings and the ability to make money as an ecosystem inside of it. Yesterday, Linden Labs unrolled out their Second Life, which is called Sansar, and actually is a virtual reality environment where you can access it for free and play for free. Doesn't cost you anything, just like the original game. Or you can choose to be a developer, and you can still play for free if you're a developer. But if you so desire, you can actually pay $10 a month and get access to like hundreds of VR building blocks, so that you can build your own things in VR and then possibly make money off of them as a virtual currency in the game, the same way that you did similar to the original game. I installed it. I made my avatar, which is very Sims-esque and actually very limited on the number of choices. And then it went directly into VR, and I could start going from there. And I really didn't get much more of a chance to check it out because it was late last night when I finally got to start up my computer and take a look at it.
The only thing I want to know, was it already raining penises?
No.
No.
No. In fact, the interesting thing was when you started it up, it actually looked like a very slick virtual reality experience selection screen, if that makes sense. Almost like a games browser would be how I'd describe that. Kind of like a Steam type of client. To where I could say, oh, here are a bunch of already made virtual reality experiences, and I'm going to go do that for free. And then somewhere in there, I know there is, I haven't found it yet, somewhere in there is a create, where I get to go create my own experience, and I can do it from scratch, or I can use this, I can pay $10 a month and get this suite of tools and assets to build it. And the interesting thing was you got help with that $10 a month. So that's, I don't know how that's implemented yet, whether that's just like here's access to our online library and database so you can look up your own stuff, or if there's actually a person at Linden Labs that you can ask because you're a paid member. I don't know how that works yet, but that's where I'm interested in this. And I actually signed up as a developer rather than just a player Because if I could figure out how to do the podcast from inside Second Life, I would do it in a heartbeat. I mean, you guys will all be here, but I'd have all my gear on and not be able to see you, and then broadcast that out to the podcast. But yeah, I mean, it's an intriguing possibility, because one of the reasons that I haven't started doing Unity programming myself is because I don't have the time to pick up a brand new programming language in its entirety, start modeling 3D renderings of stuff, and then import all those assets in, etc., 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 etc. If I can go into this and make solid experiences with little to no coding required, that could, and I emphasize that this is a big could, that could be what the VR genre needs in order to actually gain more traction with people. If there's suddenly, like, if it go, because right now I will be the first to say that the amount of content being put out on Steam is kind of staggering for VR. But if you have something that opens the floodgates to a whole new level, I think that's an interesting way that people can experience those things for free just by logging onto the game. I think that's an interesting proposition. Or do you think it's completely ridiculous and not care, Kate? Did you ever even do the original Second Life, Kate?
No. I don't know what it is.
So think of an MMO where all you have is your character, and then you can... I'm trying to think how to explain it. It's kind of... Have you ever read about Universal's Islands of Adventure?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's actually a lot like that. It's like you go into the main landing area, and there's a bunch of people there and just generic avatars, and you can hang around and talk with people if you want to. Or you can go to any of these different islands that have different themes and different things to do. Most of them are deviant and sexual in nature, but not all of them. Some of them are quite interesting. And so it becomes a... Think of it as an uncurated Wild West, where you could find any and everything that people had made in there to do. And if you liked something, you could tip that person in the virtual currency. Or if there was something that you wanted to keep, like let's say that you went by a funhouse island and you wanted a little balloon animal hat for your avatar, you could pay $1 or 50 cents in in-game currency to buy that hat and keep it on your avatar forever. Okay. Or if you as a person said, you know what, I want to make a funhouse island where people can go and look at themselves in the stupid mirrors or whatever, you could actually do that with very little coding experience or knowledge. And then you said, I want to make a stupid fun hat, balloon animal hat for these people to do. And you actually generated a machine in the game that would crank out these hats for people at 50 cents a pop. And then you actually got all that money in game, and Linden Labs has the ability to actually convert that to real money. So suddenly you saw people making money in a virtual currency, which up until that point really hadn't been done. Technically, if you really wanted to think about it, this was actually the forerunner to Bitcoin and virtual currencies that we have now today. Because they were the first one that actually allowed you to translate a virtual currency into real-world money. To my knowledge. Can you think of anyone before that, Matt?
I'm not aware of any.
Okay. I'm not either. I could be completely wrong. But I'm pretty sure they were the first ones to do that. So it became this interesting place that Second Life that exploded in popularity because you had companies like Wall Street Journal had a digital version of themselves, and then they would actually cover news events in Second Life as if they were in the real world. It was kind of weird, but there were a lot of things going.
And penises.
There was a lot of that too. Yes. I do not dispute that. No, I think Linden Labs would not dispute that. But I actually thought it was... I don't know. I thought it was... Like I said, I think the Wild Wild West was a good... Like an unrestricted Wild West is a good way to describe it. Because you didn't have to be that way or be involved in those things if you didn't want to. But they were everywhere if you wanted to. So I thought it was nice to have choices, I guess. But yeah, I'm very interested in seeing, because they opened this up to beta 2 years ago to a bunch of early VR creators, and they have something like, I want to say it's like 375 curated experiences already built, and a ton of people signing up to build more experiences. So I'm very interested to go through and see what's there, what I can do, how much I can learn without any necessarily coding knowledge, and then is there a way to translate that into some kind of ecosystem? So that's what I'm interested in doing. But Matt, if you had VR, would this be interesting to you?
I don't know. I'd probably pop in just to see what it's all about, but just things being the way they are now, I don't get into the whole creation thing much. And right now I just flat out don't have time to try to do any of that stuff. So
I want to say that, maybe it's still just the creator. No, they launched yesterday. I swear to God, it's public now. I think if I go to the download section, it's there. You don't have to sign up for anything. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that you actually do not need VR to go into it. You do not. So you can do it in VR, and there are VR experiences, but I believe you can just go in directly with a normal computer. So that's an interesting hybrid. I don't know how that will work with the experiences or anything. I guess you would have a mouse and be able to drag in 3D maybe. That's the only thing I can think of. So I'm interested to see how that works. But I had remember seeing that you did not have to have VR to actually use the program. So maybe you and I will check that out at some point. I'll be in VR and you can not be in VR, and we'll see what happens there. But we'll revisit Sansar at another point in time. But I wanted people to know about it because I think it's an interesting proposition by Linden Labs. Sony is putting a pretty major stake into Funimation. So Funimation has been one of the world-leading anime creators, and it looks like Sony has invested, I think they're investing around 30% of the total company's total net value, if I remember correctly. Pull up the story just to be sure. Oh no, I underestimated that. 95% stake.
Yeah, that would be what you call a majority. Yeah,
that would be a majority. Yes. So that's interesting to me. I can't help but wonder if Sony launches its own Crunchyroll kind of service.
Isn't Crunchyroll Sony's?
Is it? I didn't think it was.
I think it is.
Does Sony own Crunchyroll? Wikipedia is never wrong. I thought they were an independent entity.
I'm pretty sure Sony owns something. I thought it was Crunchyroll, but I could be
University
wrong.
of California, Berkeley graduates. AT&T and some group. So no. I think is the short answer.
Sony's okay. They're a partner in Crunchyroll,
Yeah.
along with a lot of other companies.
Yeah. So yeah, I kind of am wondering if they don't, or add that as a channel to PlayStation View to entice more people to subscribe. That's interesting. I don't know. We'll see what they do with it. I'm trying to figure out what their monetization path is, I guess is the best way to say that. Okay, you invest with it. How does that help your company? I don't, unless they do something like a exclusive offering. I don't know. I'm not sure where I see that. That's cool, but not a news story. The PlayStation Vita apparently has finally been permanently jailbroken. In the past, you could jailbreak your PS Vita, but then after you updated to the next version of the firmware, or just even restarted it, it was a flash jailbreaking, then it would reset back to factory, back to the way it was before. But apparently, a team has jailbroken the Vita permanently, which has taken 5 years since the release of the console. Do you think Sony will do anything at this point, Matt?
Since it's been a couple of days already and they haven't said anything,
You have to acknowledge that the Vita actually exists.
Yeah, well, that was my line in the chat was, well, if there was anything to make Sony acknowledge the Vita, this is it, because they get all twisty about this kind of stuff. But yeah, since we haven't heard anything yet, I'm kind of guessing they're not really planning. I mean, there may be a patch that comes out at some point that temporarily disables it, but now that they've got a foothold, I'm sure they'll circumvent it fairly quickly. So
when we had PSPs back in the day,
I've got 3 in the house still.
Yeah, I had a battery thing that allowed me to jailbreak my PSP.
Right.
And I did so. And I absolutely loved that system.
Yeah, I had a busted up. I had a jailbroken PSP, and I used it all the time.
And my big argument for not jailbreaking a Vita is a simple one: is you can't remote play at that point if you do that. And that was a big thing until they released that PC and Mac remote play application, because now I use my Vita for exactly 0 remote play. I will sit in bed with my laptop if I want to do that before I use the Vita for that. So now I'm actually thinking this might not be a bad thing, comparatively, if I did not have Sony support. Because it's not like I'm buying games off of the store anymore for it. The games I have already just reconciled myself to say, this is my library for the Vita, and that's it. So is there a reason that you could think of not to do this? With the state of the Vita the way it's in now? Now, I'm not advocating people do it. I'm just throwing out a pro-con list here.
Right. Yeah, I don't know what...
Technologically inept. Like, you can't do anything other than turn it on.
If it had no undo, like if you couldn't undo the jailbreaking, that would give me pause, because if I decided I wanted to go do something and the jailbreaking broke that functionality and I couldn't undo the jailbreaking to go back and do whatever it was I wanted to do, play Jetpack Joyride or whatever, that would give me pause. But if it's undoable, at this point, I mean, if they've already stopped support for the system pretty much. I don't know if it's officially stopped, but
in Japan, yes. Here, no.
Okay, so I mean, definitely if it's a device that's beyond its pure support structure, then do whatever you want with it. Yeah, that would be the only thing that gives me pause. If there's not something I can do that reset it back to non-jailbroke, that would give me pause. But ArenaNet has announced a new Path of Fire expansion for Guild Wars 2,
and I still just wish they would release it on console. I don't understand why they're not.
I think at this point, that ship has sailed.
I don't understand at all why they have not. It just seems like so much more money they could be making. And if there's a game that deserved it, it's Guild Wars, because it's so good. I would.
They just knew they couldn't compete with Final Fantasy XIV. That's what it is.
Oh, shut up. I would actually start over at level 1 in Guild Wars if it was on console, wholeheartedly. Like, that's how much I love that game.
It's good.
I
don't know what to make of this anymore.
John Cena gets lead role in Transformers spin-off Bumblebee movie,
which take place in the 80s.
Which I don't understand because he's not the lead character.
No, because
that's the part you don't understand.
Well, that's the first part. I said the only way. I mean, I actually really like John Cena as an actor. I think he is funny in almost anything he does. But having said that, the only way that I would go watch a Transformers movie at this point is if he was in the driver's seat when Bumblebee transformed and we got to see the appropriate gory blood explosions that encompassed from when his legs were ripped off because they were down in the area that would extend to be his legs. That's about the only way I'd go see it.
Yeah, I don't. This movie is just bizarre. It's actually got a competent director on it. It's got. If John Cena is invisible for the entire movie, that would definitely be a selling point.
Well, you can't see him already, so it's fine.
Yeah, so but yeah, Bumblebee is actually going to be a bug. It's takes place in 1985. I don't know. I don't know. The whole Transformers thing at this point just seriously just needs a reboot and just start over. But maybe that's where this starts. I don't know.
Sad news this week as the gentleman who was the lead designer of the upcoming game Anthem. His name was Corey Gaspar from BioWare. He passed away, and he was fairly young too. I want to say he was in his early 40s, if I remember correctly. So our thoughts go out to those his friends and family. But he worked on all kinds of different things, Mass Effect and Dragon Age Origins, Mass Effect 2 and 3, and then, as I mentioned, he was the lead designer on Anthem. So,
yeah.
Which I will definitely be playing Anthem, even though I know neither of you will be.
I'm curious about it.
Really? Because normally you are all about not doing the multiplayer games along with Dave and Matt for the most part.
For the most part, there's a couple games that I really like Overwatch. It
Yes,
just has
that is
to
true.
be something that really catches my attention.
Gotcha. Yeah, and I believe it or not, I'm actually the same way. Like most,
But
I like
for me, it has to be even more so. Like I have to love that universe or art design or characters or whatever. I have to love it.
Whereas for Mark, it just has to be popular, so he has to play it because it's popular.
So, speaking of things that were not popular, Mass Effect Andromeda, the team that behind it, actually EA made money on the game. I don't think that was in the news feed.
The sales weren't horrible. They weren't,
even though the critical reception was
right.
But in light of that, I was actually surprised to see the news that BioWare Montreal is merging with EA Motive. Now, BioWare Montreal was the team that made Mass Effect Andromeda. EA Motive is the team that's working under Jade Raymond, formerly of Assassin's Creed, but now on super secret Star Wars project that we don't even have a name for yet. They're combining the two teams together. Now, they were in the same office, but separated. Now they're combining them together I'm just wondering if they're being retasked to help with EA's Motive's Star Wars game. But that still seems weird that they would just consolidate the two, since it turns out Mass Effect was not it. But then again, I still say that, BioWare Montreal was the C team to be making Mass Effect Andromeda in the first place. Maybe they feel there's not enough competence in the team, so they're absorbing them into a larger one that has more experience. I don't know. What do you think the reasons are for this?
Yeah, I think my guess on this is they didn't fire them. So that's awesome for them, for their families, for everyone involved. And my guess is that since we don't even have any information on the Star Wars game yet, is it's probably way behind schedule. So bring in extra people, extra code monkeys, right? Extra people who can work on models. You basically can sit there and punch out code. Yeah, I think it makes sense that they would bring in people who can have the skills to do the work, but maybe aren't necessarily the creative element.
So Kate,
they're essentially the grunt workers.
Yeah.
So Kate, then does this lead to derpy-looking Star Wars characters in whatever this Star Wars game is?
No.
Okay, just checking.
They'll never let that happen again if they're smart.
Unless it's Jar Jar Binks, in which case,
I thought he was your favorite character.
He is, but he looks derpy.
So, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds has broken one of the longest-standing records in that it is actually now the highest peak player count of all non-Valve games on Steam. So it's currently in the number 3 slot. In order to take out the highest ranked game, which is, of course, Counter-Strike, for years, it would need to triple its player base. So right now, the current Counter-Strike count is 1,200 I'm sorry. Is it 12 million players? I can't remember how many.
That's a big difference than 1,200.
Yeah, I know.
It's got to be more than 1,200. Now it's 12,000 or 120,000, or I'm guessing it's 12 million. That would make sense.
I keep forgetting Counter-Strike's that popular.
Yeah,
it's
a 481,000 current players. It's or was that?
Okay, no, they need Dota 2. I'm sorry, it's Dota 2, and they need to surpass 1.2 million players. Currently, they're sitting at 481,000, I think. Yeah. So they would need to triple their concurrent player base, which means you actually need to probably multiply the number of people sold by 5 or 6x in order to get the concurrent count to triple. This game, PlayerUnknown's Battleground, is still in early access. Everyone loves it that has played it. Everyone raves about it. Do you think that when this goes live, they will be able to expand their player base, or do you think what they've got is what they've got?
I think it will expand. I don't think it'll expand to Dota 2 numbers, but I think it'll expand.
If they can find a competitive hook and bring it into competitive play, it'll probably pass CS:GO. I don't know if it'll ever catch Dota, but
I think this has a shot because it's more accessible.
I think it's not like completely like laugh out loud out of the realm of possibility. It's just I don't think that'd be a nice feather in their cap. I don't think it's something that they should bank on.
Right. No, I agree with you.
Now this also kind of brings up the point. Okay, you're the number 3 game in Steam. Are you really in early access? Are you really, or are you just a game that's just not got a lot of content yet?
No, they are definitely in early access, because if you look at it, it's still got some really rough edges.
Well, right, but you are the number 3 game on the largest PC platform. Are you really an early access game at this point anymore?
I think they are. I mean, I would and then there's the whole controversy. I can't remember if it's further up in the newsfeed or not. They introduced paid cosmetic DLC last week. And they introduced the idea of it. I don't even think it's in the game yet. Or it's in the game now, but it wasn't when they announced it. Caused a huge uproar because what it was is you can get 3 boxes. 2 of the boxes open for free. The third one you need a key. The key costs $2.50. What do you use that money go to? I think 75% of the $2.50 goes to them for their esports thing coming up, that they're going to use that as the prize pool. The rest goes to charity. But people are still like outraged. It's an early access game. It's, they shouldn't be having paid DLC in an early access game. And the guy, player unknown, I don't remember his name, but the guy who actually built this, he came out and he said, okay, we should have done a better job communicating, but look, we are very much an early access game, and we want to make sure this crap works right before we launch it to everyone and their dog. To your point, Matt, they are already launching it to everyone and their dog. I get that. But you're not wrong about them not having a lot of content. But at the same time, I think that actually does qualify them as being early access, because I'd rather them take the time to do it right and then go live than...
But you've got the same problem you have with Marvel whatchamajiggets, Okay, you get one more map when it goes live. Is that going to be enough to, sate whatever expectations the player base has of what going live means?
Yeah, but this is one of the few times that I have to say they are actually completely separate games. Like, this is a game where you have one giant-sized map that accommodates 100 people, and then it randomly picks a spot to close the gameplay loop down to. Marvel Heroes is a set of maps that do not ever change, but the gameplay experience is the same every time, whereas this one is not. If that makes sense.
I mean, I get that. I'm just saying I don't know what the average player unknowns or PUGB or whatever they're calling it these days. What I don't know what the average player's expectation of what go live means. Go live for Marvel Ultimate Heroes whatchamajigget did not meet your expectations as a gamer, right? I don't know what the average player unknown Battlegrounds player expectation is for go live. But I don't know. If it was upgrading from version 1.0 to version 2.0, that might carry a different expectation and stigma than going from early access to full production. See, the dog agrees with me.
And I'm telling him no. Bad dog, bad dog. No, just kidding. Yeah, I personally think to that point, you're right. They could launch now and it would be fine. But I'm easy. The game is fun for me, but it does have a lot of bugs still. So I would like to see them iron that crap out before they launch as a live game. But to your point, okay, if they launched exactly as it is today, what's the difference in doing that and then patching the bugs after the fact? How many games do that? I get it. I like the fact that they're making the distinction, which is a probably non-distinction, that they're saying, hey, this is not done and ready yet.
It's really just a mental game, right? It's saying, this is early access, so if there's bugs, I don't care. Whereas if we just said, hey, we're releasing this, we know it's got problems, and we'll work on them as we can, there's probably just a different mental acceptance of that. It's exactly the same. It's not limited. It's not a closed beta. It's not restricted in any way, shape, or form. It's a released game. We've just put this tag on it that lets you be okay with there being bugs. Again,
where do you weigh in on this critical? Where do you weigh in on this critical issue?
I weigh in on the side that I think you've spent too much time talking about it.
She's like, dang it, Matt, stop talking.
All right. Persona 5 is getting an anime adaptation. I don't think we need to talk about that.
Nobody expected that.
Yeah, right. Since they have not done. Bizarro launched on Injustice 2. He has ice beams instead of heat beams.
And fire breath instead of ice breath.
Yes. And the interactions between two Bizarros are pretty funny. The videos are online. I recommend you check them out. Why am you so polite? That's one of the things. It's pretty good.
I heard a lot of, or I saw screaming by on my screen when that launched. It seemed like there was a lot of hate on it. Was there any particular reason that either of you know? On the Bizarro, yeah. Or maybe it was all tongue-in-cheek and I just was skimming by too quick and didn't really catch what it was trying to say.
I think a lot of people are super excited about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
maybe
expensive.
That might be why.
Yeah, I want to say it was like 1,000 crystals or whatever. It's pretty expensive. I think the other ones were like 700, weren't they? Kate, do you remember? Kate, can you hear me?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, but you didn't answer my questions. That's why I was asking.
Oh, look, I didn't hear you ask a question.
Yeah, I said that he cost 1,000 crystals, and if I remember right, the other premium skins only cost 700, didn't they?
I don't remember how much the premium ones cost.
I want to say it was around 700 for most of them, but yeah,
1,000 too.
Maybe they were. I can't remember for sure. PS4 shipments have reached 63.3 million. That's not sales through, or sell through. That is shipments of how many have gone out. But sales are down compared to year over year. But still, the question is, they're at 63.3 million. I asked the question, will it reach 60 million in its lifetime? I probably could have been clear on that question, but I wanted to leave it a little bit vague. Number one, do you think that the PlayStation 4 will have a lifespan long enough to reach 80 million?
No.
You think they'll introduce the PlayStation 5 before they can hit that milestone?
Yeah. They'll either talk about it at next E3 or at this year's PlayStation Experience.
I just don't get why.
Because they want something
money.
Because of the sex box.
Yeah, but isn't that the PS4 Pro? Or isn't that the Pro?
It's better than the PS4 Pro. Like, there is no getting around the fact that any game that is dual console will be better on the XXXXXXX. Because I think there's this whole thing, they're still in the mindset of the 360 was super popular because it came out first.
Right.
So they all want to be like, I gotta come out first. I gotta come out first.
Do you think that the 5 is actually, it will be the PlayStation 5, or do you think it will be a PS4 Pro 2?
Please just call it a PS5 and do not go the Xbox route. Because that's the stupidest name ever. PS4 Pro 2 would be a terrible name. And they should just say, no, we're working on PS5. And not even, like, tether themselves to PS4.
Matt, what do you think? Do you think they announce soon, or do you think that the PS4 will have a lifespan where they could actually reach 80 million?
I kind of lean toward I think it will probably have a lifespan. I don't think we'll hear about a PS5 or whatever it's going to be until the end of 18. You know, like PlayStation Experience 2018. I think we'll get an announcement or something. I think maybe E3 next year at the earliest, but I really don't think it. I think they'll launch it at PlayStation Experience 2018, or not launch it, but announce it. That's my personal feeling. You know, having said that, you know, this system has sold like hotcakes, and yeah, it's gonna the curve is gonna slow down. It just can't keep up with the sales the way it was because it sold so fast. I think it could make it. I think, and it also depends on when the PlayStation 5 or whatever it is comes out. Will it be able to play PlayStation 4 content or not? That will be a factor in where this all ends up going.
So you guys can't see it on your screen, but for the podcast, I just pulled up a thing that says, how many people are in the United States? And the answer is 323.1 million. So if you think about that for a hot minute, and I pull up my calculator, if they're sitting at 63.3 million...
That's a fifth.
That is a fifth of the United States has a freaking PS4. That's amazing, to be quite honest. I personally am going to side with Matt on this one, just because I don't think they feel threatened by the 1X, because we still don't even know the price of the 1X.
Yeah,
And do we?
They announced the price at E3.
Oh,
yeah.
I slept since then. Is it $500? It's $500.
Yeah,
Yes,
it's
$500.
$500. I just don't know. I will be very interested to see when they do launch, but I think that they sit back and give the Pro like at least a year on its own before they announce something else, which will be hopefully just the 5. I hadn't thought about backwards compatibility.
I think at this point they have to do it.
I think you're right. I don't really know that whatever the PS5 is makes a difference.
That's like the one thing that it's like keeps getting held over their head by. It's like, oh, Xbox is better because.
And to be honest, I mean, I don't think it's going to be as big a deal to do backwards compatibility because, okay, they release a PS5. What is it? Faster GPU, faster CPU. It's still everything.
PSN ID.
Well, yeah, but that's software. That's software. That's not hardware, right?
Oh,
what I'm saying is that a PS5 hardware is no different architecturally from a PS4 because it's all
like
PC.
Stronger chips and stuff like
yeah,
that.
it's still a standard PC chipset architecture, and if that's the case, then there doesn't. I mean, theoretically, all you need is a little software translation to get it to, which they have already built into the PS4 Pro, to be honest. So, I don't see why backwards compatibility would be an issue for them at all. Other than they're greedy, maybe. We'll see.
I think at this point, it's just a PR thing that they have to do it.
Yeah.
No, I agree with you. I think they have to have it. Speaking of greedy, GameStop.
And yet the reasons I don't go to these folks just keep growing.
Yeah, well, I have to say this is pretty crappy on their part. So they are going to be open on Thanksgiving.
Whoa. I'm reading that correct. The GameStop does not pay time and a half for holidays?
GameStop does not pay time and a half for holidays.
Built into your labor laws?
No, it is not.
Your country fucking sucks.
Language.
That's illegal here.
Yeah, you have a you have the right to say no to the shift, but
then
it
couldn't they just fire you?
They theoretically could, yes. But pretty much all the managers and assistant managers at GameStop are already assuming that they're going to be working on Thanksgiving Day alone, by themselves, for the whole day. Because what kills me about this is that 2 years ago, GameStop said, we respect our family, our workers and their families, and we want them to be off and alone at that time. Last year was the worst Black Friday that they've had in years, and suddenly this year, I want to find the exact quote. To better serve our guests with their evolving holiday shopping needs, This year, GameStop will open its stores for a shortened and limited time on Thanksgiving Day. But they go on to say,
many of our store associates and guests have asked for this. Really?
yes, that is exactly where do you see it?
It's
I'm
like 2 lines underneath where you stopped reading.
Oh,
right under, yeah, there.
Yeah, many of our store associates and guests have asked for this. Bull crap. I mean, maybe like guests, but not the associates.
No.
Specifically because there is no time and a half pay. No one would ask for that. And from what I'm hearing in the rumblings of the GameStop hierarchy, the actual store managers are super pissed off about this. And the district sales managers who don't have to do this are the ones that suggested it. It's so...
Yeah, this sounds like a corporate solution looking for a problem.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't get what they're doing. I mean, they should be... I thought when they started publishing games, they were going to jump into that wholeheartedly. I'm wondering if the Song of the Deep did not return for them the way that they wanted it to. And so they have not done any more publishing stints since then. But they have to find some other alternative means of income for their stores, because
wasn't that Hot Topic? It was Hot Topic they bought, wasn't it?
Or no. That was ThinkGeek.
ThinkGeek, sorry.
Yeah, and ThinkGeek has supplemented them, but not to the point that, I think the last statistic I saw was still that 50 to 70% of their entire revenue stream comes from used game sales. And
well, yeah, because they lease like crazy on them.
Yeah, I mean, as digital expands, they must change their business model or die. You can't live on that 20%, 20 to 25% margin that they have from the rest of their business.
Well, I mean, I don't ever shop because I buy all digital.
I do. And I don't know, it's a tough call for me because I actually like the people at my stores. I always luck out and I actually get competent, nice people who enjoy gaming and love to talk about gaming. So that becomes an...
And GameStop doesn't fire them? That's amazing.
Right,
yeah,
right.
The typical store.
Yeah, no, every store that I'm at seems to be the atypical store. But a lot of the times I will take games that I have no interest in playing again and help them fund for new games because, as Matt likes to point out, I like to play popular games so I can talk about them intelligently. And then he makes fun of me for it. Yep. We got the first image of Domino from Deadpool, or Deadpool 2, I should say, which is hilarious because this builds on the Burt Reynolds ripoff, but because now it's a Deadpool rug as opposed to a bear rug with Domino on him. Mm-hmm. But yeah. Do you like the new Domino look, Matt?
I mean, it's fine. I mean, it's going to come off in the character, right? I mean, assuming they pulled off the character as well as they did to Deadpool and Deadpool 1. I'm actually terrified of this movie. I don't know if I've told you this.
Yeah.
I am terrified of this movie because they pulled off something ridiculously unbelievable for me with Deadpool 1, with the original Deadpool. This is that whole can lightning strike twice thing that just terrifies me, that this movie is just going to be horrid because they're going to be trying too hard, kind of like Guardians of the Galaxy did. Guardian Galaxy 2 did. I actually expect this could be worse than that, though. I mean, this could be seriously, like, horribly bad if they don't manage it well. I think they got the look of the costume, they got the look of the character, they got the attitude all there. That's the important stuff. Yeah, there's a bit of a controversy going on because it does not appear from her appearances in the comic books that she is of African or any descent. But that stuff's so malleable. It's really the character that counts, and as long as they've got that, then.
Kate, any way in?
I think she looks really cool, and I'm excited for it.
Yeah, I'm actually excited for it. I share some of Matt's. What's the word I'm looking for?
Trepidation.
Yes, thank you. And trepidation towards. Can they do it twice in a row? But I think they will be able to. I'm going to choose to believe they will be able to. And proceed as if I was in my right mind. That's nothing important. Nothing important. Do we want to talk about Milkshake Gate?
And we
No.
It's 1 o'clock in the morning here.
All right. We'll skip it.
No, we can skip that. I do want to talk about this. This will be the last one we talk about. And then we'll call it a day. So, Dragon Quest XI launched the first 2 days of last week. And in its first 2 days, it sold 2.08 million copies in 2 days. Now, I was curious because I wanted to know what the breakdown of the numbers were. And it was like over 900,000 for PS4, which translated to $70 for the PS4 version, and just about 1.1 million for the 3DS, which translates to about $60. Combined, that's $129 million in 2 days worth of sales. That's crazy. I'm actually really glad to see that there's almost a million, considering there's only, I think, 4 point something million PS4s in Japan. That means that now the attach rate for PS4s to Dragon Quest 11 is almost 1/4. Almost 25%.
If anyone stateside ever is like, Final Fantasy sucks, how come Square's not out of business?
Square did go out of business. That's why it's Square Enix.
Yeah, technically, yeah. I'm sorry. One last thing, and then we'll call it a night. This one's important. This is a PSA. In fact, I'm going to go do this directly after the show. So right now, on the Humble Bundle, that is not an exaggeration. You can literally get $1,500 worth of software for $15. There are some creation suites that the modules alone are like $850 a piece, and I think you can actually get more than $1,500 worth in this sale. I want to say there's like at least 3 that are $800 and some odd a piece. And if you ever thought about designing games for computer or mobile, go pick this one up at the Humble Bundle store. So, just FYI. I know I put other things on here, but I don't think yeah, Sony still won't do crossplay. That's the last thing. Yay. So that's going to bring us then to final thoughts. Kate, let's start with you. Final thoughts.
Can't wait to see the rest of this season of Game of Thrones. I did
Agreed.
spoil myself. I did read those packs, though.
Oh,
So
why would you do that?
Because
Why?
I don't care about spoilers.
Oh, no. No.
But I'm very curious to see how accurate they are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Some might not come true, some might. We'll find out.
Yes, we will. Matt, how about you? Final thoughts.
If you haven't and you have any interest in Legos whatsoever, there is a Knight Rider Lego Dimension set that comes with a 1980s David Hasselhoff Michael Knight figure that is awesome, and you should go get that. You can find Dimension sets on sale all the time, so everyone should have a David Hasselhoff as Michael Knight Lego minifig. That's just a thing that should be.
Does the rest of the thing contain a kit?
It does. It's a kit and a Michael Knight figure.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Before I get to my final thought, this is part of the show where we like to thank our patrons who support us at the $5 a month level and above. So I would like to thank Regina, Justin, Naomi, John, Ian, and Bobby. So thank you for your support. If you would like to support us, you can head over to patreon.com/gamersledge, where for just $1 a month you can get your name on every single show that we do. And so thank you to all our patrons. Also, I just got a text that I didn't understand, but I'll get that in a minute. The other thing, my final thought is that this week we just posted the Well-Rounded Gamer episode 5. I talk about one of my family's traditions that actually happened this week, so that's pretty cool. If you haven't had a chance to watch it, please go ahead and do so. Like it, share it with your friends, tell other people about it, because it's not just for gamers. This one's a seafood-centric episode, so if you like seafood, there you go. And with that, we will end the show the way we always do, with a fine piece of wisdom built to carry you through your week and make you a little bit wiser as you do so. Yeah. So this week, my question is for Kate. Kate, where do Volkswagens go when they get old?
I don't know.
To the old folks' home.
I regret that I participated in that.
Well, you get to regret it a couple seconds longer because I forgot to queue up the ending video. So I got good stuff.
It makes our ending even longer than it usually is.
Yeah, pretty much. YouTube.com/c/gamersledge.
See, I thought he had this all set up ahead of time.
Yeah, I normally do.
I did get a copy of the Street Fighter battle box for UFS, so I played a couple hands of that too. So,
Super Jelly, do you have an Akuma?
No.
Oh, what comes in the battle box?
It's Chun-Li and Chun-Li versus Ryu.
Chun-Li before they fix her in Street Fighter 5 or after?
I don't know. She's won every match we've played so far, so obviously
there
it's a
you
pretty good deck.
All right, so here comes the outro. Thanks for watching, everybody. Until next week, game on.
Game on.